Mm, 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 mm. First things first, welcome to CNN. I'm your host, the underdog, Kirk Kennedy. Let's go in. On this channel, we take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Oh, man, listen. I don't make these things happen. I just respond to them. So let's have a little conversation. So I didn't even actually know about this, but somebody hit me. I've been responding to these in the comment section like, hey, can you do a video on this? And I'm like, you know what? Let me look into this, and I end up doing it. So let's have a quick conversation. I'm not going to be here long. Trump makes a Gaza Strip video. It's an AI video. And at first you would think like, this is probably a joke, but then you realize this is on his True Social joint, right? So his social media joint is Trump's Gaza Strip video. So let's watch this video and let's give some thoughts about it, all right? So let me be clear. I've always said this. I don't have skin in the game. I didn't vote at all. I'm not in that. But I always think this verse that I put up, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. I'm always wondering what the Lord is doing. The Lord cares about his church. And I personally believe that believers on both sides of the aisle are so idolatrous in their worship of politicians that God is constantly having to try to expose. Just like when he told Israel, Samuel, tell them this is the kind of king they're going to be if they want a king instead of me. I think God is doing that. So I'm going to say that on the front end, but let's watch this AI video of Trump, and then we'll have a couple thoughts. I think there's a biblical passage, again, because I believe that the Lord is always trying to show his people like who people really are. There's a verse I'm going to look at that it's not a one-to-one, but it's just going to hopefully make some sense. All right, let's watch this Trump Gaza Strip video and see what we think about it.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
So that's it. It's a
Man, it might be worth watching this joint again. Hold on, man. Let's watch this one more time. Listen to the music, right? Listen to the music of this joint. This joint's talking about Trump's come to set you free, right? This is like, listen to the lyrics of the song, right? It's really quick. Let's watch this one more time, and then let's give a couple thoughts on this joint. All right, here we go.
Set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
All right. So let's have a quick conversation about this. This is one of them face palm joints. All right, first, before I say anything, let's say White House had to give a statement on this video, and here's what the White House press secretary Anna Kelly said about this AI video. It was an AI video. Here's what she said. As President Trump has said, Gaza in its current state is uninhabitable for any human being. Keep in mind, a ton of people live there. President Trump is a visionary, and his plan to have the United States involved in Gaza's rebuilding will allow for Palestinians to resettle in new beautiful communities while improving conditions in the region for generations to come. All right, let's just be clear. If you think any Palestinians currently would be allowed to live in a place where there's a resort and all this stuff, Donald Trump, you're fooling yourself. For a couple reasons. One, I don't think Trump and them think they're terrorists, so they don't want to do business with them, right? They're not going to have that. Those people, they don't. Two, that's Western free market capitalism. These people are Muslims that hate America. They hate capitalism and what, so they're not going to want to come live in a region where it's all Western free market capitalism on display. They're not going to do that. They're going to see that as aggressive. They're going to see that as America overstepping, and they're going to turn that bad boy into a holy war. Make no mistake, right? These people are not going to be excited. So the video starts off with Donald is coming to save you, right? This is the kind of language. I think that's exactly what it says. Donald's coming to save you. And then is Trump is the one. And then you see different images. So you see images of women with beards dancing on the beach. Shortly after that, Trump with a woman in some place. She's very immodestly dressed, and Trump, the Christian, is there with her. And all. Then you got Elon Musk eating hummus and all of this stuff, right? It's an AI video. At the end, you see Trump with Benjamin Netanyahu sipping on pina coladas or whatever that is, all right? But the thing that stands out to me the most about this is it's really an absurd video. And again, Trump made a point, made a statement. He put it on True Social. This is not an AI video that someone made that went viral. Trump put this on his True Social social media page, right? The thing that stands out to me is this image. Let's look back at this image, all right? Because this is important. Let's go back to this image right here. This is the image that I think you should think about. So here's the image to me that stood out when I watched this, all right? There's one image of Trump with a head, but then look how big this golden statue is. Like, look at this thing. Right in the middle of it, it's Trump. Like, Trump, the savior of the Gaza Strip, okay? Let me tell you why I think this is a crazy image. And while you may think that I'm just reading into it or being facetious, I think the Lord, this is what I really believe, and I'm not the Lord. I could be wrong. I think the Lord is showing his people, especially the Christian conservatives who seemingly, listen, I'm gonna say something very controversial right now, and this will probably offend some people, and if you need to unsubscribe, do so, because the problem will be with you, not me. I don't think you were wrong to vote for Trump if you voted for Trump. And in this sense, if you're a Republican, you're not going to vote Democrat. That's just how it is. It wasn't wrong for you to vote Republican. There's no sin in that. You voted Republican. He just happened to be on the ticket. That's not the problem. Anyone who shames you for voting Republican, that's not the problem. Because let's be clear, Biden, Obama, and them did some crazy stuff when they came in office. I mean, the whole sexual culture exploded when Obama was in office, and then Biden carried it on, right? So I remember what was that dude, the basketball player, Jason Collins, who was an retired NBA player, came out as gay, and then Trump called him and said he was a hero, you know, and in the month of June, they had the White House with the LGBT color. Let's not act like whenever someone gets in office, they do crazy stuff. It wasn't wrong for you to vote for Trump if you voted for Trump. Don't even worry about that. That's not the problem. Here's the problem, is when conservative believers are acting like he's a believer and he's doing nothing wrong. No. As a believer and a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, we have an obligation because we are about truth. We worship God in spirit and truth, not in spirit and preferences, not in spirit and political leanings, in spirit and truth. Just you wasn't wrong to vote, but you got to be honest about what you see. There's some things you got to be honest about. All right. With that being in mind, and again, this is YouTube. Feel free to disagree, but don't care about that. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. This image. Let me tell you why I think this gold image is a crazy thought. Let me tell you why. Because I genuinely believe, especially because Trump says he's a Christian, I genuinely believe that gold, that 90-foot gold statue in the middle of this Trump's Gaza Strip is very problematic. And let me walk you through why. Again, there's no one-to-one with a lot of what we see in the culture, but as a believer, our responsibility is to take the scriptures and learn from it, right? So let's go to this. Let me show you this passage. Let's look at this passage. This is Daniel chapter 2. I mean, I actually do it like this. You can see it. Okay, let me give you some backdrop. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Those were their government names, but they're known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel's in Judah, and they're taken captive by Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon. All right. In Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream, and he wants his the people who do like the astrologists and all of that to interpret the dream. And they said, well, tell us the dream. And Nebuchadnezzar said, no, I'm not telling you the dream. I think you boys lie. You boys be lying. You tell me the dream and the interpretation. They're like, no one can do that. Only God can do that. So he's like, all right, I'm killing all of you. So the word gets out that he's killing everyone who interprets the dreams and all of that. They get to Daniel, his main henchman, and Daniel says, hey, listen, I can interpret a dream. Tell Nebuchadnezzar I can do it, right? He interprets the dream. So then they go back and tell Nebuchadnezzar, and he shows up. And let me read to you what happens in Daniel 2 and then Daniel 3 and why the Trump video with him is problematic for me, all right? And I think it should be for Christians. I think it's not about God showing you something. Don't be mad at what you see, right? Don't be mad at what God shows you. Don't get upset. Don't make your politics more than your pursuit, your perseverance. Don't make your politics more. But let me just show you something. It's not a one-to-one, but this is a thought, all right? Here's Daniel chapter 2. Daniel shows up to tell Nebuchadnezzar the dream. Listen to this. Listen to this. You saw, O king, and behold, a great image. This image, mighty and of exceeding brightness, stood before you, and its appearance was frightening. The head of this image was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its middle and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. As you looked, the stone was cut out by no human hand, and it struck the image on the feet of iron and clay and broke them in pieces. Then the iron and the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold all together were broken in pieces and became like the chaff of summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, so that not a trace of them could be found, but the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Right? So this is Daniel telling Nebuchadnezzar the dream that his magicians and stuff couldn't tell him. And then he says this. He tells him the dream. Then he says, this was the dream. Now, O king, now we will tell you this, the king's interpretation. You, O king, the king of kings, to whom God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power and the might and the glory, and into whose hand he has given wherever they dwell the children of men, the beasts of the field and the birds of the heavens, making you rule over them all. You are the head of gold. Another kingdom inferior to you shall rise after you, and yet a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth. And there shall be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, because iron breaks to pieces and shatters all things. And like iron that crushes, it shall break and crush all these. And so he's explaining this to Nebuchadnezzar, right? And basically, and then he just explained what he's basically saying is, and then he goes on to 43, as you saw the iron mixed with soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. And in those days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed, nor shall the kingdom be left unto the people, right? So he's explaining to him that basically this statue that starts off with a gold head and are all different kingdoms that are going to come. And this is biblical. This is historical. So after this, the Medes and the Persians came, and then the Greeks came, right, with Alexander the Great. And then you had the Romans with the iron and clay, right? And they intermingled and intermarried. And then the stone that cut all of them was the kingdom of God. Jesus is the cornerstone, right? This is the interpretation of that dream. And here's what Nebuchadnezzar says to Daniel. Then Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face. Listen to this. Fell upon his face and paid homage to Daniel. Listen to this. And commanded that an offering and incense be offered up to him, to Daniel, because he interpreted the dream. The king answered and said to Daniel, truly your God is God of gods and Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries, for you have been able to reveal this mystery. Then the king gave Daniel high honors and many great gifts, and made him rule over the whole province of Babylon and chief prefect over all the wise men. Daniel made a request of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel remained at the king's court. So let me tell you what's happening. So he interprets the dream for Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is the gold head, and then the rest of he says another kingdom will come after you, right? Nebuchadnezzar falls on his face and worships. If the book stopped right here, many of us would think Nebuchadnezzar became a believer after this. He's a Christian. He's a follower of Yahweh. I mean, he says, truly your God is God of gods and Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries, right? He gives Daniel high honor. He's saying the God that you serve is greater than all other gods, right? Because you interpreted the dream. This is Daniel chapter 2, the end of it. But watch what happens in Daniel chapter 3. Look at this. So Nebuchadnezzar, remember in chapter 2, you're the gold head. Says this. Says, look. Says this. This is a dream. Here's the interpretation. You, King of Kings, and the power, might, and the glory God gave us to you. You, look at this. You are the head of gold, right? And another kingdom will come after you and so forth. Look what happens in Daniel chapter 3. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its breadth 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon, right? So Nebuchadnezzar, after being told that he's the gold head, but that these other kingdoms are going to come after him, he recognizes your God is the God that we should serve, right? Right? Your God is the God of everything. Then he makes an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and his breadth. A huge statue of gold Nebuchadnezzar makes, right? And then guess what? After he makes that statue of gold, he turns on the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because he said, whoever, look at verse 11 down here, whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into the fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no attention to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. Now, you guys know the story. He said, look, if you don't bow down and worship the gods when you hear the music, I'm throwing you in the fiery furnace. Keep in mind that Nebuchadnezzar just worshipped their God. Basically, you would have thought he was a believer. He made it seem like your God is a God. Daniel said, let me have my 3 homies, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And he said, yep, you can have them be governors over certain provinces. The next chapter, Nebuchadnezzar makes a tall gold statue, right? Seemingly like giving credit and glory to God. He makes a tall golden statue, all right? Tall golden statue, Nebuchadnezzar does. Hold on one second. This thing is tripping. Nebuchadnezzar makes a tall golden statue, and then he says, if you do not bow down and worship the statue to the same people whose God that he said was the God of gods, if you do not bow down and worship, you're going to die. This is not a one-to-one, but when I saw this statue, look how big this statue is. This is essentially a replica of the statue Nebuchadnezzar made. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar reacted as if he was ready to worship the God of Daniel, all right? Trump says he's a Christian, like he worships the God that Christians who voted for him serve. But yet in his video, he has this golden statue. And at one point earlier in the video, remember this part? Remember at the beginning of the video? The golden head. Remember what he said to Nebuchadnezzar too? Nebuchadnezzar, you are the gold head. Here's Trump. This is an AI video that Trump posted. Here's Trump with the golden head. This is Daniel 2, a golden head, a little boy walking around with a big golden head of Trump. And then you see Daniel 3, a huge gold statue of Trump. Listen, man, I ain't got no axe to grind. I'm not a Democrat. I've never voted Democrat in my life. I would never vote Democrat. I don't trust them. But I don't trust Republicans either. It's too late. It's too late for me. It's too late. God is my president. But if you think, listen, When Jesus said stuff like, he who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Brothers and sisters, you got to pay attention to what you're seeing. The gold head, this is the AI video that Trump made. I don't know what the prompt was, but there's a gold head and then a huge statue. This is Daniel 2 and Daniel 3. And then between those, here's Nebuchadnezzar acting like the God of the Jews is the God. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Trump says the same stuff. He's a Christian. I think the Lord is doing little stuff like this. Look, you voted for him. It is what it is. I don't think you didn't do anything wrong voting for Donald Trump. You're a Republican. You vote for who you think. I don't think Kamala would have been any better. We're just doomed politically. I'm sorry. We're doomed. But I got to be honest. Don't let your politics blind your perseverance. Don't let your constitutional hope blind your Christological hope. I think the Lord is just showing you something. And I'm saying you because I don't buy these people. I don't trust them. I don't vote for them. The Lord is showing you something. And what did Angela Mayu said? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I think these little subtle things are the Lord just showing you, do not worship this man. People say, I don't worship him. I mean, don't lie and say he's something he's not. I don't think Donald Trump is a believer. And if you do, good for you. If you think I'm judgmental, unsubscribe and judge me. But I'm not going for it. I need to see genuine faith, and I don't see it. These types of videos, I think God is just showing people who he is. You know, you put Paula White as the head of Christianity from your administration. Paula White. We need to cry out to the Lord instead of crying out to the Lord for Donald Trump or for this politician. Let's try something different. Let's stop asking God to empower unregenerate people to make our lives easier and go back to the Old Testament and cry out to the Lord and let him raise up for us a judge that will follow him. Maybe that might work differently. But what do I know? I don't know. What do I know? I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, let me go to the tape real quick and just see what we got right here. Let's see what we're doing right here. Chris, what up, bro? What it do? Oh, boy, that's true. That's right. Melody, this is a hot mess. That's his wheelhouse, turning stuff into Trump Towers, 100%. All the terrible things going on over there, and he feels gliding over the region is going to do the trick. Listen, these people are not going to listen to Donald Trump. It's going to be a jihad. That's Western free. They hate the West. And he's going to go over there. But look, the gold head, Daniel 2, the statue, Daniel 3. God is just showing you who this man is. Right. That would be 100. It would be insulting to them. Caleb was good. Caleb was up with you. Yep. Same that stood out to me. 100%. I saw that, bro. That's definitely alarming. 100%. Thank you for taking my suggestion. 100%. I know who you are, Shannon. And the homie Mike, the Collins, those are my peoples. This had to be the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. And I think any believer that's acting like this is not a big deal is ridiculous. It certainly is disturbing, 100%. I had to look it up myself. Not that you would lie, but my first thought was somebody was pulling your leg. But it's there, posted by Trump. Let him have it, brother. Amen. I'm telling you, I don't got nothing to gain by saying this stuff. I don't got nothing to gain. Blessing and hello, everybody. I love it. It's the same greeting every time, believe and hope. I love it. I thought you might talk about this after the Zelensky's thoughts. Followers of Jesus need one another more. 100%. 100%. That's exactly what I've been thinking. God is trying to get believers' attention. How much stronger could he get? And God put the same thing on my heart. We begged him for a king and we got Saul. Listen, I just think God is trying to tell believers, listen, I do not think it was wrong for you to vote Donald Trump. People will tell you that it is, and it's not. Even though he's wilding. But you voted for Obama, he was wilding. But there hasn't been a president that has been wild. I don't know. I don't know if there ever has been one. But I think there's a difference between defending his character. Don't do that, because you're actually slandering God's character when you make some. There's a big difference between God is sovereign and appointed him, and he's who God is using, like he's King David. Don't do that. What's also crazy is that he's so about two genders and the belly dance. I was about to say that. The belly dancers have beards. I don't know if anyone caught that. Let's catch it. Let's catch it. Let's go right there. Look at this. I thought this was crazy too. The belly dancers have beards. And he probably wasn't in. And you know what though? Trump isn't tripping. He knows he has conservative Christian. Him and Elon Musk. You'll yell at, look at this. You'll yell at, look at that. They have beards. These are dudes' faces. These aren't even, this isn't even like the old P.T. Barnum circus with a bearded lady. These are dudes' faces. These are essentially trans people. Right here. Right here. And he put this in there. And then let's go a step further. And I'm only laughing because I think it's just ridiculous. But let's go a step. So you got trans women right here, right? Mr. Two Genders, trans women. But then you have as much adultery as this man has been accused of. Look, and then they got him dancing with a woman in this joint. Scantily clad. Like, where's Melania at? Why aren't you sitting there with your arm around your wife, fam? This is who this man is. So I just think people will say I'm hating, and I honestly don't care if you think that. But I just think we just gotta call a spade a spade. I'm an ex-gangster. We call spades spades. That joint is crazy. That joint is crazy. I just think it's wild. I definitely don't think he knows, and to be honest, I don't think he cares. Yeah, he probably doesn't. So this video should be an eye-opener for at least Christians who should know better, because you can discern, but some are not applying and using. Stop being idol worship. 100%. 100%. Why are Christians putting any person on the pedestal? Is strange. Well said, Future. Christians need to get their blinders off. Very well said. Listen. I worship Jesus, and that's it. I respect people, but I worship Jesus. I think a lot of Christians, if we're being honest, here's the reality. What we call idolatry is really just people no longer have confidence in God to move. And let me go a step further. I think a lot of conservative Christians, well, I think on both sides, for different reasons. I think I think all these Christians are self-righteous towards God. Let me explain what I mean in closing. I think the left thinks that they should be, that God and love, they redefine love to be so inclusive of everything that you can be a child and declare who you are sexually, but we'd never let you even vote politically at that age, right? They just think that love means you never tell someone that what they think is true is not true. That's the left. That's why it was crazy. The right is the same way. They're so self-righteous towards God. They think they're more holy than God, that they will even deceive themselves and lie about the character of a man who is seemingly disproving everything they say, from appointing Paula White to letting Elon Musk run wild, to the utter hypocrisy of them tolerating Zelensky's outfit. Even though Trump, to his credit, said, I like how he's dressed beautifully. Elon Musk is in the White House with his young son just wilding. Oh, because he had a MAGA cap on? He's disrespectful completely. So again, I just think believers, the Lord is trying to show you, he who has eyes to see, let him see, because you're definitely not seeing. But what do I know? Like and subscribe to the channel. Go to the Patreon. Join me on Patreon. Thank you for those who looked out on Venmo and Cash App and all that. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you so much. I'm out of here. I got a meeting I got to get to. This crazy video. I thought it was a joke too, Kentucky. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was crazy. And he posted on his social. Go back, look at the images, and think what glorifies God about any of this? Straight Nebuchadnezzar. Crazy.